No crash diets. Welcome to another edition of the Christian Economist. Hi, I'm Dave Arnott. Well, a more academic-sounding title for this would be progressive renewal instead of violent overthrow. We're going to cover a wide territory today. We're going to talk about personal for a moment here in our Christian worldview. Second, we're going to go to political, and third, we'll finish with economics. Yeah, all in about 12 minutes. But here we go. One of my favorite books on the Christian worldview is by Albert Walters. It's called Creation Regained. Walters is a theologian in Canada, and he writes like a theologian, and so we have to make some interpretation from his material for economics. And as a matter of fact, that's why I wrote that little blue book you'll find on my website, davearnott.com, Economics and the Christian Worldview. I had used Walters' material in my classes for years. I had excerpted about 20 excerpts from his fine book, which is very theological in nature, and made the economic application. Finally, I just wrote up that book, and thank you to Albert Walters for his work. Here's a direct quote from his book, Creation Regained. Quote, "In connection with our theme of recreation, it is particularly striking that all of Jesus' miracles, with the one exception of the cursing of the fig tree, are miracles of restoration. Restoration to health, restoration to life, restoration to freedom, restoration from demonic possession." End quote. So I've told my students in class, if you're a little overweight, and none of my students are, by the way, because they're all really fine-looking young people, but I am. I eat too many cookies. I eat too many donuts. What's the solution for this? A crash diet does not work, and maybe that's why I'm recording this one for you today on January 17. It's the new year and people trying to lose weight, right? But what do we believe in the Christian worldview, and what do we believe about economics? And what do we believe politically? Do we believe in progressive renewal or violent overthrow? In about 10 minutes, we're going to make the conclusion that the Christian worldview tells us as economists, as political economists, that we believe in more progressive renewal than violent overthrow. Back to Walters, and back to the idea that we are to recreate. If you say it fast, it's recreation. So if I have eaten too many cookies and too many sweets over Christmas, and it's now mid-January, and I need to lose weight, I should not go on a crash diet. I should have a progressive renewal. I shouldn't violently overthrow my diet. I should progressively renew it. I should recreate my body. Get it? Say it fast. It's recreation. Have you realized every time you've said this word in your life, every time you've said the word recreation, you are saying the word re-creation. You are recreating your body. You're turning it back to closer to what God intended it to be. Three parts of the Christian worldview. God intended a perfect world. He intended your body to be perfect. We are fallen. We've eaten too many cookies. We've screwed it up. How do we bring it closer? I started to say perfection. Did you notice me stop there? We can't be perfect. How do we get it closer to God's creational intent? We recreate our bodies. We recreate the world. We recreate it. There you go. So that's personal. Well, political. Again, maybe I'm recording this today because I finished last night a really good book called The Great Debate by Yuval Levin. I say a great book. Boy, it is recommended to me by a guy named Gustavo Moran, who designed that nice Christian economics logo you see on my website. Gustavo Moran's one of the great Renaissance learners. I mean, he works at my university at DBU in Blackboard in our online classes and studies ministry. He has his own ministry online. If you search for Gustavo Moran, Moran, has his own ministry. He studies political economics. And so he recommended this book to me. It's by Yuval Levin, called The Great Debate, Edmund Burke, Thomas Paine, and the Birth of Right and Left. So I read it. Frankly, I said it's great, but I don't recommend it. Oh, my goodness, this is heavy. He had it in a political philosophy class at Dallas Baptist University, and it is written in a textbook nature. It's hard to read, but I struggled through it last night. Here's what he says about this issue of progressive renewal or violent overthrow. See, in his book, he's talking about Burke wanting progressive renewal. Thomas Paine wants violent overthrow. And it's about their views of the French Revolution in 1789. So here's quoting from Levin's book. Quote, Burke offers a model of gradual change, of evolution rather than revolution. The products of a developed, let me start that over. The products developed are valuable, not because they are old, but because they are advanced, having developed through years of trial and error and adapted to their circumstances. End quote. Yuval Levin, The Great Debate. So Burke is on this side of evolution, not revolution. That was Burke's problem with the French Revolution. It was that it threw out the existing order and started over. And this is essentially, not totally, this is mostly why Christians end up on the right. Because we agree with Albert Walters. We say there is good there. Matter of fact, Alex Haley had a great phrase, find the good and praise it. That underlines the Christian idea that God created the world good. We shouldn't violently overthrow it. We should progressively renew it. And this is what we believe in the Christian worldview. It's what we believe in politics, as I'm reading to you now from Levin's book about Paine and Burke. And it's true in economics, which I'll get to in just a minute. Progressively renew. Don't violently overthrow. That's why I've titled this No Crash Diets. Another quote from this book. Quote, Burke's invocation of nature, understood through history, calls for a model of thoughtful and gradual change and is therefore an appeal to order. Yeah, that's what he's saying. And I don't know how these things come about, what atheists call coincidence, Christians call providence. In 9 months, I've read 2 books about the French Revolution. How can that be? One was recommended by a friend. It's called Last Call for Liberty by Os Guinness. I recommend anything Guinness has written. He may be the C.S. Lewis of our time. He's just amazing. Os Guinness, Last Call for Liberty. First chapter, he's talking about the split in American politics. I said, yeah, I heard it. You're not telling me anything new. Chapter 2, it really, really gets good. And he substitutes for the U.S. Revolution the term 1776, and for the French Revolution, the term 1789. And he tells us the difference between the U.S. and the French Revolution. Sorry to summarize it this crudely for you, but the U.S. Revolution proposed and promoted religious freedom. The French Revolution destroyed it. That's it. Where does religion enter into the American Revolution and the French Revolution? The American Revolution promoted it. The French Revolution destroyed it. There you go. And so back to this book by Yuval Levin. Thick book. Don't read it. It's very difficult. Unless you're studying political philosophy, as my friend Gustavo Moran is. Yeah. So Paine said we should destroy, and the French Revolution did. Edmund Burke says, no, we should progressively renew. And that's what the American Revolution did. Yeah. President Obama, 5 days before taking office, said, quote, we are 5 days from fundamentally changing America. That was frightening when I heard it. 8 years hence, meaning 8 years after his administration, it is clear that he did not fundamentally change America. There was some concern at the time about what he was going to do. He did not fundamentally change America. America fundamentally is, number one, based on Judeo-Christian values. Number two, the economics are mostly free market capitalism. Its political system is a Republican form of democracy. In my opinion, those are the 3 fundamentals of America. Barack Obama made some changes on the edges, but he did not fundamentally change America. Christians don't believe in fundamental change. We believe in progressive renewal, recreation change. So let's get on to economics, because that's what I'm supposed to be talking about today. What's this have to do with economics? Well, everything. In fiscal economics, taxes should be adjusted gently and in small increments, not in huge swaths, right? Two parts of fiscal economics are taxes and spending. Spending, stimulus does not work, but that's not my subject today. We'll talk about that some other time. But spending should be adjusted in very small increments. There's a guy named Sean Hannity who has a plan called a penny plan. You reduce spending 1% a year, if I understand his plan correctly. See, that's more in line with progressive renewal than violent overthrow. Stimulus believes in violent overthrow, that you should have a huge stimulus to stimulate the economy. Well, again, it doesn't work, but that's our subject for some other time. But there should be small stimulus, not large stimulus. Monetary. Second part of economics is monetary. Well, we've had 3 rate cuts in 2019. All were quarter-point changes. That's consistent with our Christian worldview, that you should have progressive renewal, small changes in the economy, not huge. See, Christians mostly are on the right because we believe in conserving what is there. We think if God created this, there must be some good in it. Alex Haley, find the good and praise it. There must be some good there somewhere. Let's go find that. Oh, I'm going to close with one of my favorite old movies. This is Batman Begins. It's a great movie matter of fact, when it came out, I wrote a whole Sunday school class on it. It takes an hour to give the lesson. A Christian worldview analysis of Batman Begins. And there's really a great line in the end where Police Chief Gordon's young son James says about Batman, he didn't do anything wrong. Why, Dad? Why? And they're chasing Batman through the streets. And there's a theatrical scene where Batman's on the motorcycle swerving down the street and his cape is flying behind him and the drums are beating and the music is rising and he's escaping. He didn't do anything wrong. Listen, if you don't see the crucifixion scene in Batman escaping the evil, then you need to reread the New Testament. That is it. Again, Police Chief Gordon's son saying, he didn't do anything wrong. Why, Dad? Why? He's representing Christ being chased to the cross. But there's even a better progressive renewal in Batman Begins. Because if you remember the story, some people want to destroy Gotham. The city is evil. We have to destroy it. Batman says, no, do not destroy Gotham. And in this, Batman takes the Christian worldview. And this is a direct quote from the movie. Late in the movie, Batman says, quote, this city just showed you it's full of people ready to believe in good, end quote. Right? There is good there. Find the good and praise it. Progressive renewal, not violent overthrow. That's what we believe as Christian economists. Well, thanks for joining me for another edition of the Christian Economist, where our motto is fear God, tell the truth, earn a profit. See you next time.